I hate my job. I hate the decisions I've made in my life that have brought me to this point. I hate the industry that has reshaped itself into something that I do not recognize. Everything is bleak. Life is pain.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
I don't know where to start.
What do you mean?
There's so many things to... Not lengthy.
Well, you seem to have a list there? Do you have a
No,
a note?
this is not... I mean, I do have a note, but it is one small thing.
Oof, okay.
It just has a lot of information to it.
Okay.
And that's not even... It's not even a big deal.
Sure. We could start with Dave DiDio not being co-publisher of DC Comic Books anymore.
Yeah, I thought we would put that a little bit later. Like, my choices to start with were... Challengers Comics Bucktown. Yes, we do still have C2E2 tickets. Which is how I answered the phone every single time today.
Sure. And
can you tell me how many phone calls weren't looking for C2E2 tickets or information?
3.
1.
Were they looking for Batman 89?
1. No, they were actually looking for something.
Okay.
That's not counting the 3 phone calls where there was no one there.
Uh-huh.
And when I say, hey, I'm not hearing anything, I could hear them hang up.
Uh-huh.
So, but whenever that happens... So for a while now, we've been getting calls where there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it was the phone line or something. Because sometimes...
You did, it's true.
Sometimes I've called and you can't hear me.
Yes.
But this has started to happen in blue now.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, all right, let me reverse look up this number. Oh, it's a phone scam.
Yeah.
But most of them are always like...
So basically...
Structured with a recording or something.
Right. My understanding is that those recordings, that program, because it's not a person calling you, it is a phone bank calling you, and if they get a person, they connect you with a person.
Yeah.
That's why there's always that delay.
Yeah.
The thing they're looking for is the word hello. So if you say hello, that kicks the program in, they connect you with somebody.
But because we don't say hello,
the program doesn't know what they're hearing. So they think it might be a voicemail or some sort of like non-person, which means it's not worth connecting this call with someone at their phone center.
All right, so next time I'll do it, I'll pause, then say hello.
If you do, you're definitely going to have to talk to somebody who's trying to tell you about your Google listing.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind doing that because then they get to hear how angry I am at their phone call.
Uh-huh.
I literally had a phone call, and it was definitely from a call center.
Yep.
And they had a heavy accent. Fine. And they're like, yeah, may I please speak to the person who handles, I don't know, credit card processing, internet, whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, is there a comic you're looking for? I'm sorry? This is a comic book store. Are you buying a comic? No, I'm trying to... Are you buying a comic? Can I help you buy a comic? So the reason I'm calling, you know what, man? I really effing hate these phone calls, and I effing hate having to talk to you people. And I hung up.
You probably didn't say effing, did you? You said a different word.
I did say a different word.
Okay.
I didn't say it loud. I said it low and guttural.
Uh-huh.
And I do regret saying you people, but I mean you people as solicitors.
Yeah, people who call us trying to get us to update our Google listing, or it's 99% of them are Google listings. I don't know why that is.
Yeah. All I know is we are a business, and our job is to... No, let me rephrase that. The only reason I want to answer the phone calls when somebody has a question about comics or an item we sell.
Sure. Those are good phone calls.
Sadly, that also includes C2E2 tickets.
It does, but that's almost over.
Right, and I mean, we sell the tickets. People have every right to ask.
Absolutely.
And the number of people that said, oh, that's what I wanted to know, thank you, and hung up, versus the number of people said, how much are they? How much? And the number of, how much is a Saturday Kids ticket? There isn't one. There's only Sunday or a 3-day. But if I want to take my kid on Saturday, then you buy a 3-day.
Yep.
And I just want to say, you know what? Look this up online.
Nope.
But people don't know that we are not...
We don't make the tickets.
Right.
We don't do the programming.
But they don't know that. They're calling because we sell tickets. They want to buy tickets. So if why would we not know as much about a ticket as we do about...
a comic we sell.
Exactly.
But at the same time, there is this disconnect in my brain when someone I think today, asked me when they were looking at the tickets, what's the programming for those days? As though I had at my fingertips, here's a listing of everything that's going on at the C2E2 convention. But I ended up biting my tongue and making it more of a generalized, well, here's what each day kind of is about, and depending on what you're looking for, these are the days you want to go.
My answer is just like, I have no idea, but you can find all that on the C2E2.com.
Oh, don't worry, I mentioned that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. And again, I'm not complaining that people want to buy tickets, and we willingly sell tickets because we hope people come in and buy other things.
Sure.
They don't.
No, not really.
I mean, some people do, but most of them don't.
Yeah.
And if we didn't want this aggravation, we could just not sell the tickets.
True.
But I think that we would be doing the comic community a disservice.
Yeah, I know for every person...
I'm going to change that word. Not comic. Look, let's put it this. I'm gonna go off on a small... When I was a kid, when I was younger and a young comic fan, there was the Chicago Comic-Con, which was the Chicago Comic Convention. You know it. Everyone listening knows it. They know what those things were. To me, those are comic conventions. A Comic-Con is a whole different thing.
It's a pop culture convention.
A Comic-Con is a pop culture convention. It is not meant for sales.
Nope.
It is not meant for so much stuff. It is merely a pop culture convention. So
I'm okay with us selling tickets mostly because I know that a lot of people who normally shop at our store appreciate being able to get their tickets when they're picking up their weekly books.
yeah.
I think that has value for us in and of itself, regardless of anyone else we might be serving in the larger Chicago community that would just buy tickets and we don't see them again until maybe Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's a little frustrating just on a basic customer service level, and it's frustrating in the same way that a lot of things like this are, where it's like, I wish anyone cared about the things that we sold on a regular basis as much as they cared about, you know, the Glow signing or C2E2 tickets or the what was it? The newspaper that we gave away?
Oh yeah. Revenge of the Dreamers 3.
Yeah. Who was it though?
Dreamville.
So stuff like that where it's like the Rick and Morty mobile. Like,
Yeah.
I wish people cared about regular comic books and graphic novels the way they cared about these like once in a blue moon things. Like the amount of people that literally only ever came to our store for the Rick and Morty thing and have more or less said, when are you getting the Rick and Morty mobile back? As that's the only reason they would ever go to our stores.
That's
like,
what that we mean to them.
Yeah, it's frustrating a little bit. So I think that's where the frustration with the C2E2 ticket phone calls comes. Is the, I wish you cared about Bang #1 or Plunge #1 or Wicked Things #1 that's on FOC this week. I wish you cared about those things the way you cared about this thing that is not what we normally do as a store. Which I guess maybe we should start doing that. Just start doing special events and C2E2 tickets and just make people happy. Okay. Not us happy, but other people happy. Never us.
Why would it be about us now?
No.
It's not. It's not. I've been... there's so many segues, so many directions we can go with this, because everything leads to everything else. Like, every other topic I have is threaded in the same spider web. It's like I'm almost unsure of where to go because of how many choices we have.
The paralysis of choice, just like that little speech that the Boom gave.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll go there since you brought it up.
That?
That wasn't even on my radar, but yeah. It's Comics Pro weekend. It's Comics Pro.
Morgan and
Philip
had a little thing.
It's Comics Pro's annual meeting, and Comics Pro is the comic professional retailer organization. It is an organization made up of like-minded retailers who are trying to further the medium of comic books.
You were on the board for a minute.
I was on the board for 2 years.
A minute.
And it's in Portland, which is a city I've never been to, and I would like to at
some point in the future.
Maybe.
When you're working less than 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have a lot of free time real soon. Who knows? Good time to go to Portland.
And it's a lot of retailer programming. It's a lot of talking to publishers, talking to other retailers.
Yeah, the
charting a course.
The advantage of Comics Pro, as opposed to the Diamond Retailer Summit that's coming up in just a couple months, I think, is that Comics Pro is kind of distribution agnostic. a lot of different publishers and distribution channels could participate in Comics Pro. It's not just like Marvel, DC, Diamond. It could be publishers that don't even solicit through Diamond. It could be vendors that act in competition to Diamond. So Comics Pro, I think for a lot of retailers, has a lot more benefit than something like the Diamond Retailer Summit, which is very, if you only order from Diamond, this is great. But if you're a store, a more modern store that's doing a lot of other orders outside of Diamond, I think Comics Pro has a lot more benefit to it.
I like the use of agnostic.
Sure, thank you.
And it reminds me of a lyric I wrote for the Acid Washed song.
Okay.
Every time I touch you, you say something caustic. You're a pyromaniac. I'm an agnostic.
Okay.
I mean, come on, that's good.
Okay.
So we're not a Comics Pro, and
Correct. We went once. You could listen to a couple podcasts on it.
yeah, we did 3 podcasts during an 8-hour drive.
We were screaming into an iPhone to keep from falling asleep on the road.
and there was thundering rain as well. Pounding rain. We stopped at
I'd almost like to listen to that episode again, just to remember what it was like. Because we talk about a bunch of people I'm certain that no longer work at those companies anymore.
Sure. But we stopped at a Sonic?
Oh, John
Sonic
Cunningham.
drive-thru? That was good.
We did. I do like Sonic. I do.
Yeah. Pretty sure it was a Sonic. It wasn't a Hardee's. It was a Sonic.
No, we did a Denny's as well.
Right, but yeah, that was on the way out.
Right.
On the way home during the podcast.
Right.
That was a Sonic.
Yeah. I like Sonic.
We
should
remember
go to
the
Sonic
important
again at some point.
things.
Do they have a Sonic in the city? They must somewhere.
I don't know.
They must. Anyway.
We remember the important things about Comics Pro.
We do.
So what Dal was alluding to was Philip Sablik and Morgan Kaiju Perry from Boom Studios gave a presentation, and one of the things that Philip had said was he relayed a story where he went to the grocery store to get barbecue sauce. And this whole incident, while I fully believe is true, just reminded me...
That was going to be my question, because I don't know if
Just reminded me of the Robin Williams movie where he was the Russian defector.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was called. He defected, and he was then living with a family in New York, and he went to the grocery store. They sent him to get either coffee or chocolate chip cookies, and he had a breakdown because of the choices, because in Russia you don't have that.
Yeah, I think in Philip's story, he's standing in front of the barbecue sauce for 15 minutes, and he leaves without buying anything, and I thought, let me talk. I've been in positions like that where I don't know what I want, and I'm provided with too many options, but 15 minutes. I mean, that's a long time to be standing in front of something and not making a decision. But also, you just get one of the barbecue sauces. It's not that complicated. Like, if you don't know which one to get, I don't know. Heinz probably makes one. There you go. You're done. But I like the story in as much as it illustrates the problem that comic shops are causing for readers and consumers.
Before you go too far into that, I want to jump back to the story.
Yes.
Like, A, there's paralysis of choice.
Yes.
I understand that. B, I could also understand if you don't remember the brand, because that means you're out of it, meaning you had some and you ran out, and you're trying to find the brand it was. You do a lot of label looking to have something jog your memory or make it look familiar. Or what if somebody has a food allergy, or you want to check the sugar level because barbecue sauce has a lot of sugar. Like, I could see those type of things taking up an amount of time.
An amount of time, yes.
But then that doesn't play into the second half of the
course.
Story.
And that's the thing. Like, that's the setup and the punchline. I'm sorry to mention punchline already. Is later in the story. I do like. Let me a quick digression. I do like that.
JR's barbecue sauce. It's tangy.
Hot. Yeah, it's a slobber knocker. I do like that Boom consistently, when they do these keynotes or presentations at different events, release the text of it for people who aren't there.
Yeah.
This is
and
not
eventually
the
the
first
video as well.
Yeah. And this one, it's Morgan and it's Philip, so it's a bit of a two-hander. It was interesting. I think the text of it maybe didn't play as well as it would have if you'd seen them deliver it, I feel like, as opposed to, like, if Ross Ritchie just gives a whole thing about, the company and his role in it and his feelings on the industry or whatever. Like, when it's one person, I feel like those write-ups play pretty well. because they feel like just like an article that you're reading at some point. But when it's a kind of back and forth thing, it's like, well, this is a script, and those don't usually work as well on the page as they do when someone's performing it.
Philip had a post of it on Facebook in one of the retailer groups, and Bruno Bautista from Big Bang in Dublin had said, that's great and everything, but do you have any titles that are going to earn their place on our shelves this year?
I gotta say,
and Philip totally straight is like, yes, this one, this one.
Nope, we're skipping 2020. I feel like we're going all over the place on this Boom thing. They did announce a few titles, and honest to God, like the two people that they picked,
you could not have made me happy.
Like, gun to my head, if you ask me to name like a couple of writers who I feel like are completely dependable in the comics market right now, I would probably say Tom Taylor and Al Ewing. And they're doing books for Tom Taylor and Al Ewing.
Two guys that have never had a creator-owned project.
Yeah, which I hadn't realized. Al Ewing kind of makes sense. He's a guy that, at least in the U.S. market, was very much like a Marvel guy pretty much the whole time. So the idea that he's never done a creator-owned thing, I guess it makes sense. Tom Taylor I'm a little surprised at, because I feel like he's a guy that's been working at such a weird kind of B-level at a lot of companies that I just assume he must have done like a Dark Horse or a Boom or a Oni book at some point, but I guess not.
But even so, those might not have been creator-owned.
Yeah, but I mean, the books that they're talking about sound good. I like the artists they're working with. I think the Al Ewing one, I can't remember the title of it, but I remember it being a thing along the lines of like something is killing the children.
Yeah,
like, oh, this will jump off the
They only
racks.
come back when they're dead.
Yeah, it's a good title. I like titles that are like a sentence. Like those are, I feel like those are catchier nowadays than like one-word titles.
I do,
are.
and they automatically bring a good feeling to the book.
Yeah.
Do you think Boom is the new Image?
I don't know if I would go that far.
Okay.
Mostly because I think the things that Boom are doing are really strong as far as things that I get excited about. They're just never... I don't think they're at that A-level quality of the best Image stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Because a lot of, like, they're building their own artistic talent. They're grooming people, like, from...
Like, I guess...
this book and moving to this book. They're not putting A-list writer and current A-list artist together.
I think they have a core group of people that they like working with that now includes apparently people like Tom Taylor and Al Ewing that are consistent and deliver. And I think it speaks more to the idea of they're printing their lines a bit to make sure that kind of the best people are the ones they're doing books with instead of just whoever has a pitch. I think, to put it in baseball terms for me, as someone who does not like watching baseball at all, Image is a company that's kind of, at this point, it's either home runs or singles.
Okay.
Boom, I think, is a company that's consistently doubles and triples. I don't think the stuff that they're doing, at least their creator-owned stuff, I can't really speak to the licensed stuff because that's just not... You either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
The creator-owned stuff is stuff where it never dips below a certain level of quality, either in the writing or the art, but it, for me, doesn't really... There's only a few books that I've seen from them that really hit those top-tier levels where it's like, holy shit, you've got to be reading this. Like, I think even for books like Once and Future and Something is Killing the Children, which were their really big hits the last few months, those are books that I don't read anymore. And I read enough to kind of get what was going on and know who it's for. And I have no problem recommending the graphic novels when they come out. Like, they'll be on the front table. We'll definitely get a stack of them. And they'll do well with that. But neither one of them was really a thing where I'm like, oh, this is such an insane idea. I've got to keep seeing where this goes. It's mostly just like, by issue 3, I'm like, all right.
I still read both of them and still enjoy them both very much.
Great. And they still sell okay. There was a thing that I thought was interesting, and I think I mentioned it to you on chat when we were looking at some of that stuff. Boom touts the huge sell-through number on issue 1, I think, of Once and Future. They said 51,000 copies. I think.
Did they say it was sell-through, or that was the...
Well, I'm sorry, the sell-in. Sorry, the sell-in.
Okay.
I misphrased that, sorry.
Yes.
What they sold to stores was 51,000 copies, and I don't know if that includes every printing. I assume it does.
I think...
For sake of argument, let's say it includes every printing.
Okay, I don't think it does, but fine.
But my point is this. The 51,000 is a great number, and they tout that as, I think, like their highest-selling creator-owned book. And that's great, and they put a ton of promotion into it, and they did all the stuff right that you'd ask for to get stores to buy in. They did everything that stores were asking them to do as far as limiting variant covers, and you could quibble about second print and third print covers,
Sure.
whatever. But regardless, they did not do variant covers on the first issue, and it was, very strong sales tools for stores to be able to make sure they had enough copies to meet demand. I don't see those numbers continuing, though, for us at least, on issue 4, 5, and 6, and I think that's the kind of problem, is that's a good data point, but it's kind of not the whole story about what those series are doing.
Sure.
Issue 1's For Something Is Killing the Children and Once in the Future did tremendously well, because a lot of that is that kind of baked in, what if it becomes a movie, TV show speculator thing. That audience, if you can even call it an audience, does not buy issues 3, 4, 5, and 6. They buy issue 1. They might buy issue 2 if they think that 2 could be scarcer than 1 down the line.
I had a guy in today who had said, yeah, when Batman Superman, the movie came out, his buddy went out and bought a Superman #1. It was $3.99. He bought 100 copies of it, and now it's worth like $60.
What is?
And in my head, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. That is not a thing.
Yeah, what?
A Superman #1 that is worth $60. I don't know what that is.
I don't think there is one. I think that's untrue.
I want to do a quick sidebar since I brought him up. He had a child who was running all over the store.
Cool.
And just like pulled a book out and dropped it on the floor and left it there. Mm-hmm. They left it there.
Yeah, of course.
Also had a child who, while the father was ringing up, drags up the 2 stanchions from the back issues.
Nice.
And puts them right in front of the counter.
Why?
And the father never reacted and just bought his books and walked out.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff. Getting back to the Boom thing, I do like everything they're saying, though, in their,
absolutely.
their presentations.
Absolutely.
They are looking at the market as it is, not as they'd want it to be, and they are responding to what they're hearing from retailers and what they're seeing in their sales data. And it feels very
They did a thing
reasonable.
that you have always said. They reduced their output, and their sales on their existing titles went up more than to cover the loss of those other books.
I think for me, the stuff I look at Boom, as far as how they're performing for us as a publisher, I think if you exclude the licensed stuff, I really, really, really like them as a publisher.
Yes.
The licensed stuff is just a thing where it's just largely not our market. The few times that we've tried to stock some of those things to see if there is support for them, usually by issue 4, we're not even carrying it.
Yeah,
No one's in club for it. No one's
it.
on the shelf for it.
We have a hard time with all the Dark Crystal stuff. Mm-hmm. Our Power Ranger numbers,
stuff,
yeah,
all of them, yeah.
Our Power Ranger numbers go up, go down, go up, go down, but they're really small numbers now.
Yeah, I think at this point, I think maybe we sell 1 or 2 copies off the shelf.
I wish I was a Power Rangers fan from all the stuff that they said that they were doing this year. It sounds really exciting.
Okay, it's cool that they're doing. Now it's Toy Fair, and I think they announced the second of the Boom Studios based Power Rangers figures are coming out for their Lightning collection. The Ranger Slayer, their alternate universe Pink Ranger, is getting an action figure, and so stuff like that is great. And certainly, like, I'm Power Rangers adjacent with my fandom.
Yeah.
So I see how a lot of those fans respond to these things, and they do like what the Power Rangers comics are doing. Like, they do get a lot out of the way that Boom attends to that franchise. So, like, that stuff, it's clearly clicking with people. They're doing a good job with it. It's just, for us, we're not fans of it, and it doesn't feel like we really have the market for a lot of that stuff. Like, Power Rangers was never that big for us, even when it was at its biggest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do know that.
Although that said, the Power Rangers TMNT book is doing pretty well for us right now.
That's true.
People are responding to the variant covers, and they're getting the FOC covers, all that sort of stuff. And they're enjoying it. Like, it's selling to people who are fans of those characters. And it's an idea that is very hard to do wrong. Just, like, putting those characters together is, like, 80% of getting the excitement from fans.
So, I know that Power Rangers existed in the 80s, but they didn't really...
The 90s.
But they didn't really make it over into America till the 90s?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant... Okay. Power Rangers is a franchise that existed in America starting in the 1990s, but it's based on the Super Sentai Tokusatsu series that existed, early 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier. I don't remember when the first one... I can't remember what the first series was called.
Anyway, back to my point.
Sorry.
I like saying that we've always done these fun 80s crossovers, but this is the first real 80s, 90s crossover. And I said somewhere, and they're like, well, actually, the Power Ranger... Yeah. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I literally don't know anything else that's happened at Comics Pro. Nobody's really posting stuff. It's like, oh, hey, look, there's Nick Barucci from Dynamite. He's talking.
The Beat just had, as I was leaving River North tonight, they had posted Nick Barucci's keynote, and it was as I was leaving, so I have not had a chance to look at it yet. I have a bookmark, though.
Yeah. Hey, before I forget, I want to bring up two unrelated things and ideas that I have. I'm going to go with the smaller one first.
Okay.
What about, the True Believers and the DC Dollar Comics, things like that?
Uh-huh.
We have a spinner rack full of them.
Yes.
What if we took off the signage that said dollar books?
Okay.
And then added and put in a sign that says reprints and added all the facsimile editions there.
Okay.
Free up shelf space.
Sure.
And then I kind of want to go back and order whatever else is available from some of those.
Sure.
Just to fill up that rack.
Okay.
I think, I was looking at comics through my eyes as a kid. Mm-hmm. And while those types of books don't exist, they do in those formats.
Sure.
And I think that stuff is really fun, and
okay.
There may be a little disconnect for a while of people thinking that everything's $1.
No one reads signage anyway, so what's the difference?
That's true. That's true. Part 2 to that is I want to do the same thing in River North.
Oh, okay. Where do you want that to go?
Where EXO is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's unobtrusive.
That's true.
It's there.
Okay.
Only, I just don't think we should do it right now.
No. Yeah. I would maybe wait until after Free Comic Book Day, maybe.
Something. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I like the idea of, that's how people got those comics anyway. It was off the spinner racks.
That's cool.
Number 2, and this is not...
This is number 3.
No. It was number 1, A and B.
Oh, okay. This is number 2.
Number 2.
How many subsections does number 2 have?
Maybe only 1, if any.
Okay.
And this isn't let's do this. Let's have a discussion.
Okay.
What do you think about not carrying variant covers anymore?
Tell me your reasoning.
I don't like them.
Okay. I mean, that's a valid reason.
They clutter up the shelves. I think they're confusing for people once they're not new this week anymore, and they're
I don't know that I've ever recognized that. I don't think I've ever had anyone say I don't know what this is. The DC Virgin covers obviously have a little bit of a difficulty sometimes discerning numbers and titles.
Yes.
But I think when they're in the stack, I think I've had to restock some of those in Bucktown, so I know that people are buying them occasionally. Or they're not buying them any less than they are the A covers.
But more importantly, it would make our lives so much easier.
How would it make our lives easier?
Well, you're only ordering one line item, not 2.
Sure.
You're not having to add sales together when you're doing orders.
Mm-hmm. I guess my thought would be not to make any changes with that, simply because I think we have what feels like a pretty good level on what we do for variant covers, how choosy we are with it.
Then let's talk about Wolverine this week.
Okay. Are they not selling?
No.
I've sold some.
The die-cut cover sold really well.
Sure. The other ones, I mean, we ordered a few copies on the other ones. We didn't order a ton.
Also, to be fair, most of those are ugly.
Yeah.
They're not good covers.
No, that's true. And so, looking at things like the decade covers that DC's been doing for their 80th anniversary specials. We did a ton for Superman and Batman, and then we did a lot less for Wonder Woman. We still got caught with some.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the window has completely closed on that, as far as, there is a movie coming out this summer. We have Free Comic Book Day. We only have, I think, one of each of, a few of the covers. So it's not out of the question that someone could see those a month from now and be like, oh, this looks like a cool Wonder Woman comic. I don't care about ongoing stories. I just want this cool Wonder Woman comic. And for Flash, we didn't order any of the variants. For Robin, I don't think we're ordering any of the variants. Catwoman and Joker, because of its proximity.
I think I might have added some of the Robin ones.
Well,
I don't remember.
For Catwoman and Joker, since those are, Joker's, I think, the week before Free Comic Book Day. And Catwoman has a lot of, popular variant artists. I think I did some of those.
Okay.
Or, yeah. So,
but I mean, it's not like we've seen images for any of those.
But anyway, like, getting back to what we were talking about with Boom, like, the variant covers for Power Rangers Turtles have done pretty well. Like, we sold a bunch of those because it's 4 characters holding one helmet. I'll get all 4 covers that came out. And it's not, and this is a thing we talked about way back when we started carrying variants after saying no to them for a long time. For most people, it is an additional purchase or purchase they wouldn't make if we didn't have it, if that makes any sense. Like,
It
there's
does,
people
but I
who
don't know
only
that that's
want-
the case.
I've seen it. I mean, I've seen people. How many times have we been frustrated by someone coming in asking for a variant we don't have? So there's clearly people out there who are like, I just want the B cover, and some of them will sign up for it in the subscription service. It's fine, but others will just never know that we lost that sale.
Obviously, this is not counting subscribers.
Sure.
Subscribers
Yeah.
can order whatever covers
That's
they
why
want
I wouldn't bring it up in that way.
before they come out.
I'm sorry that you're frustrated by it. I don't know that it would make a lot of business sense for us to stop carrying
Just
variants.
look at how many Spider-Woman #1 covers are there
Sure.
for a book that is going to be canceled very quickly.
We're only ordering 2 of them. Regular cover and the die cut
Die
cover.
I know. It just, I hate that they even exist.
I do. I like that level, absolutely. I completely wish that all of those variants were not created, that it wasn't... Like, I hate how many questions we get for variants that we don't qualify for, that we would never think to order, that become the hot book that week.
Well, this goes
that
to
you could
something
never
that
predict.
you had just said is, like, ultimately, I want people to buy the comic because they want to read the comic.
Sure.
Who cares what the cover is?
Well, so that's the kind of shade of gray of it, is that I do understand that, like, I agree with you that the interior content is what's of primal importance to me. I don't care what's on the cover. But I know that some people have a preference. They do want the story, but they also like this cover that means something to them or they think is cool. So that's why we've seen things where people have switched out, like the Wolverine cover for the die cut. They subscribe to Wolverine. They want the Wolverine story. They're going to get the next issue, but they didn't know it would have a die cut cover, and they would prefer to get, of the 2, the die cut cover. And I can sort of understand that.
I guess part of my problem is...
Like, if I could get a Power Pack #1 that didn't have a Ryan Stegman cover, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Part of my problem is the constant... All right, well, here's the listing and previews. Okay, well, here's 4 more covers by FOC.
Sure.
No, forget it.
I get you. How many of those stupid DC Decade covers are things that they don't even tell us until the week before FOC?
I mean,
they tell you who's drawing them.
they at least tell you that much.
But, I mean, I would not, for a second, tell people that it doesn't matter what the art looks like.
I mean, we ordered some Art Germ Fantastic Four variants and find out, oh, it's Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and so we definitely have, like, we learn lessons and we tweak our approach. There's been times that we've tried more of the Marvel variants, and then we kind of pull back on it because, oh, we tried those Immortal variants. Oh, nobody cared about them. That was a huge waste of money.
Yeah.
So then, we maybe don't do those theme months. Like, we're not going to do, like, the dark variants or whatever. That's just not on our radar. But if something is cool, I mean, it can be cool. And you can... I think... as long as we're not greedy with it, I think we have a kind of a decent idea of what are the good covers that we can do and which ones are the bad covers that we don't want to try. So, I mean... I don't know that it would hurt us financially. Not a lot, but it would hurt us financially to stop carrying variants.
Well, literally every day hurts us financially.
It's true. Existing is a bad idea and not one I recommend.
I want to reiterate to any club members who are listening that when you give us your variant cover orders, before we order, great. Love it. That's fine. That's fine.
You just mean carrying it for the shelves and stuff. That's what you mean.
Yeah, and like it is a little bit of a hassle when somebody says, "Oh, hey, these 2 books coming out next week. Can I get this cover instead of that one?" Like, when you do it in place of, or along with, fine. But instead of, that's a lot trickier. So I have to put that one in as a special order, cancel your subscription, restart it starting at a different number, just because you want a different cover.
Yeah, so, I mean, on that level, I absolutely wish that these things didn't exist so they weren't an option for people. if that makes sense.
I mean, the irony of that is that the one I'm complaining about is something that we've known was coming for a very long. It wasn't like a new cover that was just announced. It was something that they've been doing regularly, and then it's just like, oh, I just want this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wish the market kind of didn't have that. I just the days of, and this is, I guess, the other part of not bothering getting rid of variants is then you would just have so many more questions about variants. You know, the answer would be, I'm sorry, we don't carry variants, but you'd still get an unbelievable amount of questions about, do you have, you know, Batman cover B for this week? Are you going to have the X-Men variant for this week or whatever? And instead of being able to tell some people, yeah, we will, you'd be telling everybody no. And it's just a different level of frustration.
Dal, I think that your decision is mitigated by the number of spaces we have for new releases. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking about how much more do I have to fill up without variant covers?
Uh-huh. How am I going to spread those 50 comics out to 70 spaces, Patrick?
Hey, so they announced, or I guess Jonathan Hickman announced, that the final Giant Size X-Men number 1 is Storm and Russell Dodderman.
Oh, that's cool.
What's the fourth one?
Phantom X.
Oh.
With Rod Reyes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Previews.
Is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had not, because I heard the fifth one. I'm like, what is the fourth one? Okay.
Yeah. That one didn't get as much play. They mentioned it a few places prior to the solicit. Just that they were looking for something to do after New Mutants, and Rod Reyes was like Phantom X, and Jonathan Hickman's like, okay, that's cool.
Did you read Wolverine number 1?
I did, yes.
Moving on.
Did you not like it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much for the audience that's enjoying X-Force. If you like X-Force, you should 100% be reading Wolverine. Yeah. That story is going to start spreading between those two books.
But I felt like they gave us two completely different stories.
I mean, they did and they didn't, but
that didn't connect.
I think it was a kind of have your cake and eat it too situation of you could either do something that's completely threaded into the current Dawn of X continuity, very Krakoa and all the Hickman stuff, or you could try and do a story that's for old school fans that haven't really been reading the X-Men stuff, but would come back if he was fighting a cool classic villain. So they did both.
My only problem with the second story is that Jason Aaron has been building the vampire universe so strong in Avengers, and Dracula plays a very specific role and is in a specific place. And here he is in doing a whole different thing in Wolverine.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get to Wolverine, and people would say, "Did you read Wolverine yet?" And I said, "No, that's too long.
It's 2 comic books."
Yeah, it's
2 full-size comic
when
books.
I know I've got time to do a quick comic read, I can't I buy 2. And it's the price of 2 comics, too, so there's no added value there.
Yeah, I suppose. It's cool to... I thought the Adam Kubert art was pretty good. I still like him, and I thought this was some of his better stuff than recently.
There was one panel where Wolverine was so smushed. I'm like, what is that?
It was amazing they were able to get Todd McFarlane to do that second story, though. That was pretty cool.
Okay, so neither of us did any of our Instagram homework for this weekend.
No,
This week.
I don't like doing a lot of that stuff, so the second it becomes work is the second that it becomes impossible for me to do.
You could have said that last week when we talked about it.
I didn't think it was going to be a problem. I didn't think I was going to get like Instagram block, but I completely did. I was just like, what am I doing? It became so strenuous trying to figure it out that I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I kept putting it off, and then by the time we hit like Wednesday, all the stuff I wanted to talk about was not like fun Instagram stuff. It was all just like, I hate my job. I hate the decisions I've made in my life that have brought me to this point. I hate the industry that has reshaped itself into something that I do not recognize. Everything is bleak. Life is pain. Like that's the stuff I was doing Instagram posts about.
Sure. So I thought it might be fun on Twitter to run some polls.
Okay.
Because you can do Twitter polls.
Neat. I can.
Yeah, technically you can. So I did 2 polls this week.
Okay.
The first one was, which number 1 are you most excited for this week?
Okay.
Choice number 1, Plunge, parentheses, Joe Hill. Choice number 2, Bang, parentheses, Matt Kint. Choice number 3, Wolverine, parentheses, The Wolverine. Any guesses?
Like what was the most... Could people pick more than one or only one?
People could add you can always add your own... No, you can only vote once.
Okay.
It's from your Twitter account. But oh no, Facebook you can add polls.
Well, I guess I mean, like, could they pick... You have to pick the one you're most excited about. Okay.
It did say... It said
most excited.
Yes.
Okay. Wolverine, probably.
52.2% of the people voting, Wolverine.
Yep. That's more than half. Pick that one of 3.
32.6%, Plunge. 15.2%,
Oof.
Bang.
Oof.
So here, and that's fine, and that's like, okay, that's it, right?
Sure.
But when you drill into the statistics, 1,633 people saw that post.
Okay.
The post had 43 engagements, yet 46 votes.
Weird?
How are there more votes than engagements?
I don't know. That's weird.
So this post, which I pinned to the top of our page,
a pinned tweet?
Who goes to specific pages?
46, somebody who doesn't have a Twitter account. This guy.
46 points.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 46 votes.
Yeah.
Question number 2. It was a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and I let these. I let the number 1 run for 3 days, and I let this one run for 2 days.
Okay.
How often do you buy your comics? Weekly / every Wednesday, every 2 weeks, once a month, or, I don't know, whenever I go in.
Okay.
Which do you think is the most popular?
Every 2 weeks.
Weekly.
Huh.
Every week, 44% of the people.
Wow.
Weirdly, this one had no point percentages, it just straight number.
Round numbers?
Well, I'll skip ahead. That this one only had 428 impressions, 21 engagements, 25 votes.
Okay.
So weekly is the most popular. What do you think the second most popular is?
Whenever?
I don't know. Whenever I go in, 32%.
Okay.
And then every 2 weeks or once a month, tied at 12% each.
Okay. I guess that's cool that people are going in once a week.
I can say that due to our stricter rules for our own club, I've seen people that are usually a little more lengthier between stays who come in and who specifically say, I'm coming in before the end of the month. Who are making a point like, I'm doing the thing you asked us to do.
That's great. It's only February. We'll see how they feel about that in September.
I'm like, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's better for your reading habits.
For sure.
It really is.
Yeah, I think the people who come in every 3 months who have a stack of stuff that they do not want to deal with are people who get pretty burnt out on comics. The people who come in once a month to a decent-sized stack, they can stay up on their books. They can still get stuff when it's brand new. They're way more, I think, enthusiastic maybe about reading comics.
One of those people who used to come in every couple of months said that when you were explaining the new rules to them, you also said, but I am going to miss the, like, I'm paraphrasing, the cash total of when you come in once for 3 months worth of books.
Oh, wow. I don't remember who that was. I'm sure you'll tell me later.
Yeah, it's not important.
No. But I think, I don't remember saying that, but it sounds like something I would say.
Avid listener Alex Chung had said on Twitter, I can't wait to hear you guys talk about Batman on the podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
And I answered, I don't know if we will. It brings up too many bad feelings.
It hurts so bad.
But you already referenced it twice today.
I did. Once as a joke and once as how miserable I was on Wednesday. So, people who are maybe not super into the collectible side of the comics industry may not know this, but...
Bless you, if that's you.
God bless you. But for my mom, for example, there was a Batman comic that came out this past week, Batman number 89, and it was touted by DC Comics as the cameo appearance of a brand new character called Punchline, who's going to be the Joker's new Harley Quinn, basically. And they had teased a few weeks before FOCs closed, that this brand new character, Punchline, would be appearing in Batman and in the Year of the Villain Hell Arisen, number 3.
How did you start that sentence?
I don't know. How did I start that
Did you
sentence?
say they told us before FOCs?
Before FOCs, they had mentioned that the character would be appearing in some of the books that they're publishing.
Okay.
They said Year of the Villain. They said Batman.
Okay.
I think they mentioned maybe one other one. But they were very specific about, we don't want to tell you which of these is a cameo appearance, which of these is a first appearance. So you're going to have to pay attention. She's going to pop up somewhere. FOC's closed, and then they went, okay, Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen #3 is her first appearance. Her cameo appearance, a one-panel, like, bottom of her face appearance, is going to be in Batman #89. Internet goes crazy. Stores across America were selling out in advance. The issue by mid-afternoon on the Wednesday of its release, Batman '89 A cover was going for $40 online. Is what somebody had told me. They looked online and they saw it going for $40. A frenzy of people wanting a $4 comic that they could flip online
Blood
for
in the
money.
water.
So, as you can imagine, it was a goddamn nightmare for most comic shops. For the amount of people that were just like locusts descending on stores to get this one book. We sold out of the B cover almost immediately. We didn't have a lot of copies. Because here's the thing, Batman wasn't selling super great. Since it switched over from Tom King to James Tynion. We have been hemorrhaging club members, and we have been losing rack sales.
We mentioned that a week or two ago
Yeah.
in the podcast.
Yeah, so it kind of created a perfect storm of not really having a lot of copies because we had been decreasing our orders.
So we don't get stuck with them on the shelf.
So we stopped getting stuck with them because we've been getting stuck with them. So that means that we did not have a ton of copies. And so when people were coming in, buying 2 at a time, because our limit is 2 copies per person per day for anything Mark New this week. And everyone was buying the maximum of 2 copies. And I told you this, Patrick, I thought it was a beautiful thing that so many Batman fans helping out friends all over the world, every single one of them, buying a copy for a friend that couldn't get to a store that day. So great. Love them.
Batman fans are just the nicest people.
Every single one of them desperate to get a copy for the friend who couldn't make it to the stores. One guy was even going to try and get 2 copies for 2 friends that couldn't make it. And I had to break his heart to say that he could only buy one for him and one for a friend.
Oh, then he's got to make a choice between his friends and then that other friend who doesn't get it. Oh, man. You might have cost him a friendship.
Sophie herself didn't have to make a choice like that.
Oh, my goodness.
So anyway, total shit show, nightmare experience. The people who were coming in, constant phone calls.
That's what the group of Brandy Rhodes' people were in the Nightmare Experience. Oh, that's Nightmare Collective.
Oh, plus it's gone.
Plus it doesn't anymore.
So yeah, it super duper sucked to have so many great new comics coming out on a Wednesday, including brand new series like Bang and Plunge, and all anybody wants is the hot book, and they don't even know why they want it, and they didn't buy 88, and they're not going to buy 90. And honest to God, most of them will only own the book, Batman '89, for maybe an hour before they sell it to somebody online.
Or they try to sell it to someone
So not
online.
only will they not read it, they're not even going to keep it. It's all being sold to people for crazy amounts of money online. And it's just the worst experience to not even be selling stories to people anymore. I think the comment I had on Instagram was that I got into this business to sell stories to people, and now I'm just selling pickaxes so they can mine for gold. Like, I'm not even selling them a collectible that they care about. I'm selling them something they can sell to somebody else.
Yep.
Like, I've become Diamond, basically. Like, that's it. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do Diamond's job. And yet, that's all I'm doing. And it's a different goddamn book every week, but it's always some book. But here's the worst part. The experience of that day sucked. And almost immediately I was having this thing of like, well, if Challengers were to go out of business, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And I was complaining to people who would bring it up during the day. I would diatribe about how awful it is. But here's the problem, and this is the thing I was telling them, that made it more of a problem than just a one-day thing. So there's been speculators on different books. We talked before about Once and Future #1 and Something is Killing the Children #1 and what if it becomes a movie or a TV show? And that's what a lot of the punchline stuff is. That people have this dollar sign in their eyes of like, Birds of Prey 2 with punchline. And then all of it, everyone's going to want punchline appearances or whatever stupid thing they think is going to occur when it never does.
No.
But anyway, that's a problem for one day. The bigger problem, and the thing that has me super spooked, is that this was the first time that I can think of that a publisher really kind of put their thumb on the scales. They said ahead of time, this is a hot character, and this is going to be a hot book, and the industry made it happen. That means that there's a playbook now. That not only can DC repeat this with some other character and get just as many lemmings to jump off a cliff, but what do you think's going to happen when Marvel sees the response of this? You think Marvel's going to sit on the sidelines and not try this shit again? They've done it the other way, where they've been coy about it, like, oh, Marvel Comics Presents came out, and Wolverine's daughter was in there. Well, that's fine, but that's good for the collectors because it's a scarce book. If you told people ahead of time, and you know the market will support it, tell them all ahead of time. Get that rush out there. Get stores.
What is your definition of ahead of time?
So, this is the kind of two-part playbook that DC created. DC said, here's 3 books. They're all going to be important. We're not going to tell you which one's most important. And stores maybe ordered up or whatever, but they were cautious. We were cautious. We didn't.
FYI, the third book was the Joker Anniversary Special.
I don't take that stuff super serious. Because historically, and this is the problem, historically, as soon as you kind of
lean into it.
Well, when you show the audience how the trick is done, it's not a trick anymore. What made this one terrifying is that they showed the audience the trick and the audience still bought into it. So that means that stores next time DC does it or Marvel does it are absolutely going to order up because they know that the audience is going to make it viable.
But at the same time,
you were telling me
we ordered into Superman 18 and we ordered way too many.
Well, that's not a character first appearance.
No, I know, but
that's a
still,
story thing.
Yeah.
And stories don't matter anymore, Patrick. That's the thing.
Yeah. What you were going to say was...
It can't be a story thing.
I told you that there is a store on eBay that is pre-selling Batman 94. Batman 94 is the first full cover appearance of Punchline. She'll be on the cover of the comic.
Yep.
And there's an art germ variant as well.
Of course there's.
And there's a store online that is pre-selling this book for $15.
It's a $4
comic. $15. And last I checked, they'd sold 30-some-odd copies. This book hasn't even been in the catalog yet.
No.
Not only have we not placed initial orders, not only have we not placed FOC numbers, we even placed initial orders.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that anybody can order whatever they want.
The orders haven't closed on it.
They haven't even opened.
The amount of copies that are available is literally infinite.
Yeah, they'll be in the previews that comes out next week.
DC will print whatever people order. If you went to your store and put down $4 million for 1 million copies of this book, DC will print 1 million copies plus whatever the rest of the industry orders.
Yeah.
Like, there is no scarcity to this book. But it's selling for $15 because the market is completely unhinged. So again, like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Like, it's only going to get dumber and more fiscally dangerous as the year goes on. Because DC's shown how it can work.
But it didn't work because nobody upped their numbers on those books because no one knew when it was going to be.
First of all, you don't know that that's true yet. We didn't. Second of all, this is how it works. Is stores feel like they miss out one time, and then they order the shit out of the rest of them. All it takes is the next time. First of all, that
one lenticular cover.
First of all, like, that Punchline cover appearance is going to have incredibly high sales numbers because stores don't want to be caught out of it. That Joker 80th thing, if that's her origin, sales are going to be huge. Sell through, we'll see. But again, I think it's still going to do well because there is no logic to this audience anymore. They will believe whatever thing they're told. And this is what drives me crazy and gets me so scared, is it doesn't even matter if it's coming from the publisher. It's not like some authority online or some number cruncher who's figuring out what a hot book is. It's literally the publisher saying, this is a hot book, and the audience going, oh God, it is? And then buying it because it's a hot book. That
extrapolated by
shouldn't work
by YouTubers and
other
influencers. No,
as soon as the publisher says it, it shouldn't work. And historically, again, it doesn't work. But now it does because the market's crazy. And so, man, yeah, I was grumpy on Wednesday, but I was terrified on Wednesday night. Yeah, it's going to be a real ugly 2020 now. Real ugly.
I guess we'll wait and see. I don't feel that same way.
Okay.
But all it takes is one more example.
I hope you're right.
We have enough things to fear. We don't need more.
Yeah, but it just in general, it made me real sad because it's just the standard thing of like, the only thing that matters in this industry now is collectability. Like, stories don't matter. Quality doesn't matter. I mean, even like looking at the Boom stuff, it's like, that's great that all those great creators are working there and doing good stories. And I'm sure there's a baseline number of people that are enjoying the books and excited about what they're reading. But the huge numbers that you get for a lot of the sell in on those books is because of the speculator market. That's what's driving it. It's not people excited about comics. It's people excited about selling things. That's it. Like, I hate that that's the only lever the industry can pull anymore. Is, can you make collectors care about it? That sucks, man. That super sucks.
Yeah. On the reverse side of that, Plunge is not doing very well at Bucktown.
No.
And I don't know what to do about it.
In general, I feel like the Hill House books have underperformed after Basketful of Heads. People seem to be excited about that, but man, we got caught out on Lolo Woods for sure.
Well, this is the other one he's writing.
Daphne Byrne.
That's a thing.
Yeah. I don't think the Plunge cover is very good, I'll say that. It doesn't tell me what the book is, really, in any conceivable way.
But I told you to read it.
You did, and I did read it. I tried.
Well, I also meant...
Actually, I don't think I read it right.
I meant you, the...
Oh, okay.
The general listening public.
I thought you were talking about...
You said it was too wordy.
There's a lot of words in it, which I guess if you like words, there's very good value for your dollar in that one. It's got all of the words.
Some new ones, even.
Yeah, probably.
And I guess we'll end with where you were going to start.
Oh, Dan DiDio doesn't work at DC Comic Books anymore. I don't know what happened. News kind of broke late in the day on Friday that Dan DiDio is no longer with DC Comic Books. It reads as voluntary, but I don't know.
It reads as Dan DiDio exits.
Yeah. But, I mean, when you're that high up in a company like that, I don't know if exits are voluntary or partially voluntary or not voluntary.
So I was talking about this today, and historically, when something like this happens, you wouldn't find out about it until, like, his replacement is in place, or they know what's going on, or, for example, they have a huge summer initiative coming up with their 5G, their Generation 5, their 5th
Generation 1 is in the new previews for coming out in May. Their free comic book day comic is Generation 0.
Yeah. So you would wonder, like, oh, how does this affect that? There's a million questions, and at this point, there are zero answers.
Yeah, the fact that it was announced late on a Friday is usually an indication that the publisher would really rather not talk about it.
But I mean, this is, like, everyone's on their phones all weekend. It's not like there's no news cycle on weekends anymore.
No, but... And the fact that you also have Comics Pro this weekend makes it like, I don't know if that's the time that you would want to do that, because DC's got people at Comics Pro, and that's going to be a
question. But DC only has 2 people.
Those 2 people are going to get some questions.
I mean, like, remember when we were there, DC was...
Sure.
Oh, like 3/4 of a full day of programming. Most
people don't work there anymore. Yeah. A lot of them don't work there anymore.
Yeah. It's just Vince and Adam who are at Comics Pro.
Yeah. So,
So I talked to DC today, and there are no answers. No one has any answers.
Yeah, that's why the whole, like, he leaves thing is like, if he was leaving voluntarily, if he's like, I've done a lot, I've been at this company for decades, I want to move on, it would be a smoother transition. There would be a telling everybody at DC, hey, I'm moving on, this is the roadmap, this is who's going to be taking over, this is where the responsibilities are going to go, everything's going to be fine. You would have that sense of, like, I gave my notice, but I'm still working here for a while. If you're just gone and no one knows what's going on and no one knows who's doing those jobs, that doesn't tell me that there was a lot of negotiation about that. Do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't be a Contest of Challengers episode, you know, the Comics Industry Business Podcast on the Yak Channel Network in Chicago, if we didn't somehow equate this to wrestling.
Okay.
And the WWE just lost its, like, 2 major executives.
Oh, yeah?
Like a month ago. They just out of the company.
Okay.
The story was that, like, their stock dramatically underperformed from the last quarter, and they're the scapegoats. But the other story is they had vastly different ideas for revenue streams than Vince McMahon had. And if it's Vince versus you lose. You lose.
Yeah.
It's his company.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's like government work, too, when you're an executive at that high level. Like, nobody is... Like, every time someone in government leaves, you know they got fired. Like, people don't just leave; they are asked to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And companies are like that, you know. I mean,
sometimes they're given the chance to step down.
right. So, 3 caveats.
Yeah.
One, every time I've interacted with Dan DiDio, he was very nice, very friendly, a good ambassador for DC comic books. 2, I've never done Dan DiDio's job. I have no idea what it takes to be a publisher for a company that is like the number 2 superhero publisher in mainstream comics publishing.
I thought you did.
I don't.
That's why.
I put some stuff on my resume that was inaccurate.
That's why
I should have phrased it differently. 3, I don't know 100% why he left that company. If it was for personal reasons or for health reasons or family reasons, I would not want to add to whatever he might be going through. All of that said.
May I add as well?
Mm-hmm.
His passion for comics is unrivaled. He loves comics so much, and these characters, and this history, that everything he did, he was trying to share that passion.
Okay.
And nobody wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going to write a shitty comic today.
Sure. So all of that said, I don't think Dan DiDio is very good at his job, and it's definitely a change that I've been hoping DC would make for a number of years now. He made bad choices slowly at first and then rapidly at the end. It seemed like we were at a stage where for every one good year DC would have, there'd be 3 terrible years. And that's not a great ratio of good to bad years. Lately, it seemed like the things that were succeeding at DC were succeeding in spite of Dan DiDio, not because of Dan DiDio, to the extent that the things that you could feel his fingerprint on were the things that were performing abysmally. So, him moving on, to me, is only a good thing. I wish it had been a few years ago, and frankly, everything I was hearing about the next couple years sounded like a nightmare, as far as where I thought that company was going to be at creatively. They sounded like things from people that were completely disconnected from what was working in the industry, or had the long-term health of the industry in mind. I don't know if that was Dan DiDio, but it felt like it was probably Dan DiDio.
Maybe he just got tired of being the scapegoat for the Punchline stuff. He was getting called out on the DC Retailer Forum on Facebook a lot.
For what?
And he was for the thing you hated this week.
For figuring out how the market worked now and taking advantage of it. I mean, like, it's...
he was personally interacting with a lot of posts.
So
as a human being, I could easily see someone saying, "Oh, fuck this."
Yeah. So I'm terrified about the Punchline thing, but there's a part of me, a small, self-flagellating part of me that's like, well, this is what we get, you know?
Yeah.
This is the market we created, and someone apex predatored a solution, which is this. This is how you take advantage of it, even if it kills it. Okay, great. Like, that's what Punchline is. Punchline and all of the Punchline stuff is just the apex predator of the collectible side of the market now.
What if a publisher, let's say Marvel, just puts out a book called New Character First Appearance, #1. And every issue is a #1, and it's a different character.
You'd have to make it, you'd have to put, like, the MCU logo on it somewhere.
Yeah,
so
that's
people,
fair.
like...
Or you have to, it has to be...
important to know that these are all characters that are going to be in Disney Plus MCU shows or appearing in MCU movies.
No, that could. Not that are, that could.
Mm-hmm. Everybody.
Punchline could appear somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite idiotic MCU things was when one of the Russo brothers...
When Star is the villain of Captain Marvel 2, Dow, you were going to eat your fucking words.
One of the Russo brothers made a joke when Avengers Endgame was coming on digitally or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, we put Nova in one of the big battle scenes at the end. And they phrased it in a way where it was clearly a joke, but somebody heard that and went, oh, Nova was in Endgame. They snuck an appearance in there. And all of a sudden, Nova back issues just exploded on eBay. As people were like, he's in the MCU now. Like, Jesus Christ.
Here's what I don't understand. Why does that matter?
I know. I don't...
There was
so much about that does not make sense to me.
This happened in River North, and somebody was buying Bang, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad you're picking up Bang. It's a great book. And he said, yeah, I hear they got optioned.
So?
And I said, I don't fucking care about that.
Are you a producer?
Like, why does that matter? Like, I want people to read Bang because Bang's really good.
It's really good, and that's the additional.
Why does it matter that it's optioned?
The flip side thing is that all these books going to people who will never even look inside is heartbreaking. It's like making someone a beautiful dessert, and they're like, "Oh, it looks great," and they throw it in the garbage, and you're like, you should have tasted that. It was good.
It's just like it's not the reverse. Characters that appear in movies, people aren't like, "Oh my god, that movie!
No,
that movie's going to be worth money one day."
So much
because that character's in it.
So much of the ecosystem.
You know, Scarlett O'Hara, she's in that movie.
Regarding all of these,
actually, that was a book first, so that is a bad example.
Regarding all these things, who out there is watching Black Panther and is like, Everett Ross, I got to know more about this guy.
Yeah.
To find first appearances, like not Black Panther, or Shuri, or someone who's like, oh, I get it. No, it's like if someone's name is on like the stupid Time Variance Authority thing from the Loki teaser.
Oh God!
Like Loki's wearing a jumpsuit that has the Time Variance Authority logo on it, and as someone who'd read Walt Simonson comics, I went, oh, that's pretty cool, a Time Variance Authority, that's neat. But people were snapping up those issues that agency first appeared in, because I can't imagine anyone watching the Loki show and the thing they're excited about is some random background agency where they're like, not only do I want to read that story, but I need to buy the collectible first appearance of that organization. Like, how? Who is that person? Who in the world is that person?
Why does another medium have to validate ours?
Nope.
Also, let's not forget, comics came first.
Yeah, but comics don't matter. That's the thing that we're learning with all this. They matter as a collectible that someone can make money on. They matter as R&D for potential movies and TV shows. They don't matter as stories. That's the most soul-obliterating thing from this week is, again, just the idea that, stories don't matter anymore. They genuinely don't. As far as, like, moving the needle on new books, stories don't matter. Not really. Not in any appreciable way. Minuscule ways. You know, single-digit percentage points, sure. But actual, like, creating a hit or creating sustainability, no. They don't matter.
There is a small percentage of people that, when they found out that there's going to be a new Harley Quinn-esque character, got excited to read that story. Like, I want to read that character. That sounds great.
But the people who are paying $40 for a one-panel cameo, there's no interaction there. There's, like, a word balloon. So it's not like they're excited about the character. What character? What do you know about that character?
And if you want to nitpick, he's been talking to her on the phone in previous issues. Why aren't those her first appearance? Mm-hmm. And also, hey Dal, historically, what is the bigger book? Hulk 180 or Hulk 181?
181, the first full appearance. So that's interesting to me because did you see that one of the books that Marvel was doing a facsimile edition of
is Hulk 180? No, 182.
So they're doing 182, yes. They did 181, yes. They did 180, yes. They're also doing a Thor comic.
Oh, right.
That
because
it
had an ad for Hulk 181.
It had an ad, and some people, apparently, which I'd never even heard of before, consider that potentially one of Wolverine's first appearances.
What was... Oh, God, I forgot his name. That terrible Rob Liefeld mutant character. Something X. Something.
Oh, Major X.
What was Major X's first appearance, Dal?
It was a Deadpool comic book, wasn't it? No, Wolverine 155.
And why was that?
Can't remember. Is he like in a splash page or something?
There was a book.
I never cared enough about Major X to know
First of all, there was the Deadpool was a variant cover that he was on. Mm-hmm. But there was somebody else had a book where they had a bunch of characters in the background and he was one of them. Mm-hmm. And they weren't supposed to have used him. They didn't know that.
Oh.
That's his first appearance.
Oh yeah, like a Spider-Man Deadpool, I think.
Yeah, Spider-Man Deadpool. Yeah.
Also,
no, but it's not though. Historically, it's not.
Also, Major X. Where's that guy?
Yeah,
where's Major X, Patrick?
And it goes
Remember
back
when that was a big deal.
People looking for the first Batman Who Laughs in that Teen Titans issue.
Oh yeah.
What?
It's insane. The whole market's insane.
But that being said, I did order each store the Batman animated Batman Who Laughs figure.
I saw.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. I can't get mad at that part of it because there's no value to those figures. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least there's not like a collector frenzy for those. People are just buying those because they think they're cool, and I get that. I get that people think the Batman Who Laughs is cool because they've read stories and they've heard things about him, and there's a character there. The Punchline thing is nuts to me because there's no story yet. Harley Quinn was popular because she was on a TV show that people enjoyed and had memorable stories told about her.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why people want Harley Quinn stuff.
And look, I don't want to say that I was on the Harley Quinn bandwagon before anybody else.
However,
but I do have a Harley Quinn print signed by Arlene Sorkin.
oh wow, really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It's from a retailer summit, the
That's
Capital
still
City
cool.
Summit. Yeah,
Arlene Sorkin's the best Harley Quinn.
that's right.
I'll say it. Controversial choice, probably.
And also, I mean, it was a thing that I happened to get. It wasn't because I loved the Harley Quinn character or anything.
But now you do.
Yeah, so much.
You've seen a movie with her in it. 2, at least.
2. I've seen 2 movies with her in
At
it.
least 2.
And I watched an episode of a cartoon that she was in.
People rave about that cartoon.
Yeah, they do.
I've had multiple people tell me how much they like it. She's no Punchline, but, she's pretty good.
And it's great that those people love that cartoon.
Uh-huh.
We sell 4 copies of her comic.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Punchline thing.
Over
It's super
2
weird. It's
stores.
like, she's the new Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn comics don't sell.
Yeah.
The Black Label one sold well because it's Black Label, but that's about it. The regular monthly ones, no one cares.
Is that a 2-issue series?
The Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey,
yeah.
4, I think.
4?
I think it's
Okay.
4.
All right. Yeah, I guess, Dal, all I can say to you is thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics. I mean, don't bother. They're only valuable.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155.
And in the River North neighborhood of Chicago at 750 North Franklin Street, number 103, 312-285-2252.
Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.